Yeah. And how long were you president for?
Oh, about 15 years, not 14 or 15.
Okay, yes. And you're still a member?
Yep.
Yes. So Flo is the go-to person for any knowledge of this area. And before Flo came to Maffra, she lived at her family house out at Boisdale. I was just going to suggest that when you're writing up your research, maybe you could catch up with Flo again briefly, and maybe because she's someone who can actually remember the the Powers Court side in operation, you could even take a few quotes and they could go. The quote could go onto the text on your interpretive side.
Mm. You've got one of those, haven't you?
Yeah, that would sound.
You got one? No?
No, I haven't, because what I did in terms of the branch line is I found
by John Ashton, who was commissioned to build them.
Yes.
And
they were where?
On Stratford Road.
Yep.
I think the lady, the wife of the ganger who lived there, had to open and shut the gates. Pretty important job. Well, it would be today, but there wouldn't be a lot of traffic in those days. But you had to open at the right time, otherwise you'd get the sack because that'd be the end of the train. Well, we went along there the other day. You go past Fulton's Road, out past the golf course, out to Foster's Hill. You can follow the line with trees sometimes. Brewers Hill Road, if you know that, anybody?
Yeah.
You go down where those
go down to Weir's Crossing,
where the vegetable people are got a thing. That's Brewers Hill Road, and it crosses there. You can see some trees quite easily along the line. And on Foster's Hill, I don't know whether everybody knows Foster's Hill, but that's what we always called it, Foster's Hill. And it's not Foster's now, of course, but there used to be a man and his wife there with a family, McKean, I think the name was.
Mr. McKean.
McKean, I think. And not till very recently there was a well with a top on it. You could see from the road. When I've said that to people, they said they never saw it, but it certainly was there. And those children went to Upper Maffra East School, and my mother did too. And you turn at McCubbin's Lane and go across from Foster's Hill, and you can follow the line. It goes round the trees and across to the tip. You join that road. I think it's probably Sellings's Lane or something, and you go along to the tip, and the rail line went underneath the road, and you can pick it up on the other side. It's still a cutting sort of a thing.
Yeah,
and it goes down to Boisdale.
On your map, that would be here.
You can have this one. I mean, I know what I'm talking about.
That's where it would be. This is the road out to Boisdale, and where the well is that Flo's talking about was just here.
Yes.
There was.
That's the second house of John Ashton's on that hill.
There was one
Mr.
house
McKean.
there. There was one house here at this crossing, and the third house was
on
where?
ours.
On Pearce's Road, which is up here in Boisdale.
Down on Boisdale.
Yes.
On the flat.
Here.
So where it separates from the Maffra Stratford road, does that go up to the industrial estate? Is that like what road was it?
Fulton.
Fulton, is that through the industrial estate?
Yeah. That's the rail line. You just follow the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're nearly following it all the way out on the road. It's not far away.
Yeah.
This is 1889, and people who lived there must have woke up with a terrible start when they saw the train go past, because they came from the buggy days, walking mostly. My great-grandmother was living there, my mother, on that road, and it would be a big surprise to see this thing appearing.
Yes. big steam train. And hear it appearing.
Yeah, this would be...
Yeah.
We have found quite a few letters in Trove and articles as well on the beginning and all the people that signed up and, you know, put the petitions together to get the rail line through. And one of the articles we found, which we've put up on our blog, actually details the first time the train arrived in Briagolong. We were reading that last week. Yes.
Wow.
So we thought that's good information.
It's quite a good thing to hear.
Yes.
Where have we got to? Pearce's Lane, have we?
Yes, so we've got to
Well,
Pearce's
it was
Lane.
Mr McGrath who lived there, and it was called McGrath's Lane for a long time, but unfortunately the Shire changes things. I like to see the original name because you then know who lived there and what they did. And she would open the gates. That's the end of them. That's the 3 Ashton houses, that far. Then you come into the town, or the village, Boisdale, and the first one, railway house, is on the right, and it's in Gibney Street now. It's been moved there. Clarkson's lived in it.
Yes, so that house, if you've probably all gone past it, the one that's been relocated from Boisdale to Gibney Street, it's when you're going down Gibney Street towards the footy ground, it's about, I don't know...
It's the second one in the end.
Yeah, and it's on your left as you're going down towards the footy ground. It's on your left.
White.
It's a white house, hardly got any garden around it, so it really stands out. It's got a red roof. A very plain, single-fronted
I've
house.
passed that house so many times, it is not fun. And I didn't even know.
Ah,
Yes, well,
Into Gibney.
the first one is Clarkson's. It's on one side of the football ground, and the second house past the church is opposite the gate where the railway station manager had his house, and you went in to catch the train there. You've got it, that photo, where the passenger train was.
Yeah, it's
That's
in
in
there.
here.
Yeah. There was a house at the a railway house there for the station master.
yep.
And next door to that is Watty Fielding's, the third railway house. There were 3 houses for John Ashton, 3 railway houses. That's all.
So why was John Ashton significant? Was he a local
Yes,
builder?
they were. There's a house that he built just down the road here. He was you'd probably call him an architect today, but not then. And his son Steve built a lot of places in Maffra. You can find a lot of them around. And his nephew, Stuart, has been building into the 20th century probably, has he? I
I
think
don't
so.
know.
Yes,
I don't
easily.
know the Ashtons.
Who built the JoJo's building?
Right.
You know, JoJo's Cafe?
Your cafe.
Yes, what's that
I call
building?
it Jojo's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who
Steve-
built that? Was
Ashton.
Steve
Yeah.
Ashton.
Okay.
Very good building.
Yes.
So that
Has-
building was built in 1908.
They all had a go at the Mechanics Hall. John built the first bit, and Steve built the next big bit, and Stuart the last bit. So it's an Ashton building. And the other one, where the medical people are, that's an Ashton house.
Oh.
Ashton building.
Yeah.
Yeah, these can't built or well built.
Yeah, and the other reason why the Ashtons is significant is, or the JoJo's building, is I think it's one of the only building in Maffra that's registered with Heritage Victoria, registered as a historic building in Maffra.
The front of the
Is there historical interpretive signage in Maffra? Like, you know, you used to go to a lot of
I
old...
put one up on that Foster building, Steve Foster's, where the cafe is. Paid for it myself because I think that how do you expect people to know or take notice or do anything?
Exactly.
There's nothing there.
Exactly.
There's a building down on the corner here. What's it sell? the glass man anyway.
Oh yeah, yes, he's
That's a very original building. That was the post office was there, and deaths, marriages and whatever, you're always registered there.
Oh.
I can show you a photo of it, and it's a well-made building. I think it was a Norwegian might have built it, but about 1866, I think.
Oh, that's early.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
And there's not much more, just a very plain road along beside the road, the railway line to Briagolong. There's no features as far as that goes, other.
No, but although you can see the embankment,
There you go.
where they haven't laser graded the paddock. Then the second branching is at Stratford Junction. So this is the photo. So this is where the Sale line and the Maffra line
yes.
join.
Yeah.
And that could be, I gave Jacinta a copy of this photo the other day.
Oh, that's the one that we
Yeah.
were just looking at.
And it is, that came from a man who used to be an engine driver.
Uh-huh.
And he was a patient of Heather Phillipson's, and a very retired
Uh-huh.
engine driver. The nice thing about this is that this path here is now the rail
Yeah,
trail.
it is. I was saying it crosses the irrigation system.
Yeah.
To a gate there. Yeah.
Yes. So we haven't talked about this
No.
being one of the sites, but this could be an excellent one because who was saying? Beth Ripper was saying that Beth Ripper and Carmen were both saying that on the other side of this globe, apparently between the signal building and the highway, there's a house and a man whose name is, did I tell you whose?
I think you...
No, I probably didn't. I've written it down somewhere. Lived there with, he was one of 18 children. The house is still there.
Railway house?
Yes.
Mm.
Because his father was a signalman.
There you
And
go.
18 children lived in this little house, and there's lots of little bungalows that were built around it, and then they were all sort of joined with
So
roofs
is
and
that,
things.
as you go under the viaduct going towards the highway, is that on the left or the
left.
right?
Yes, the left.
White house,
Left.
or like a white house, or were you going into Stratford on the left?
It would have to be. I
Yeah.
can't picture it.
So I think I know that they're renovating at the moment, or it's been renovated.
Yes.
Trying to think of the name too.
Yes, and apparently there's a man who lives in Longford who Beth Ripper knows, and he's a member of the Longford Landcare Group, and he would be very happy to talk to you, she thinks, about that history.
Yeah.
So that could be,
Be
seeing we've got
another-
a good photo, someone who knows the history, he could be somebody who would be good to interview.
Mm.
If you'd like to do that as your fifth
Yes.
interpreter.
What is that
yes.
building called?
That's a signal
Signal box.
box. Yeah.
So we're thinking,
Like these, where John Aston houses are, they're gatekeepers
yes,
on those.
Yeah. So they actually went out manually and opened the gates.
Yeah, gatekeeper's house.
Now this is very similar. It's probably exactly the same as the one that's been restored in Sale.
Yeah,
Probably.
probably.
Yeah.
It looks familiar.
It's probably a standard.
the photograph that I found on the internet, which is this one, but from a different angle,
really?
someone's put it up,
Yeah.
and it's in 1983. So
Oh.
we think that it's only been pulled down. So it'd be interesting to find out when it disappeared and why.
Well, I
like
think
that.
if you went to the Stratford Historical Society, they're terribly good. They've done a lot of work.
We might have to have We might have a visit out there because it's hard for us to. We only meet the one afternoon a week.
Yeah.
Next week we're going to Melbourne and we're visiting the Victorian Railways Museum in Williamstown.
Yes, I was going to suggest about the railways because Foster Crook in Maffra is a member and he would tell you how to go about it.
Yes.
He's very good at it.
Yes. There's also now with online all this online Facebook. There's a
Yeah.
Facebook page dedicated to memories of Victorian railways. So did you know that,
No.
Christine?
No.
So I've joined that group. They accepted me. It was a closed group.
Yeah.
And of course they're putting up photographs all the time, you know, and very interested in what we're doing. So,
Yes.
you know, they're
Oh,
pushing
fantastic.
out that information. So we're going to go to the Railways Museum. We're going to go to the Public Records Office. We know they have a photograph of the Briagolong train station at the Public Records Office. That's the only one we've been able to locate.
Yes, well, I think I'd certainly go to Maffra the library. They must have lots of photos there. But you've got to know the right thing to ask. You have to ask for Bushy Park Bridge if you want to see it, not Boisdale. And Bushy Park Station, I've always had a photo of it. I should search out and look for hotels, but there you are.
Well, we could go down perhaps one night after school well, we're going to Melbourne on Wednesday, but, you know, maybe we could meet and go down another night after school, and I can always give you a ride home through Stratford.
Also, Adele and I live here, so
Well,
if the
you
boys
and
can't
Adele.
do it, Adele and I.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I live in Maffra.
Oh, you live in Maffra too, of course, yeah.
Oh, I forgot.
What am I, like, invisible?
You live in
No,
that,
no.
that by Maffra.
No. Well,
I'm
whoever
very
lives, I was talking generally, that would be good.